Hello and welcome to Brilliant but Lazy, the nerd pop culture podcast from Victims and Villains. I'm Alan.
And I'm Josh, and it's been a minute, my guy. What is this? The
He,
first one we've done in like a year at least?
it's been, I think I looked it up. The last one we did was for Fantastic Four, which was over a year ago.
Okay.
Um,
All
it
right.
has been a crazy year on my end. I became a father in November, and my son spent 4 months in the NICU. And has now spent 5 months home. So we just celebrated him being home longer than he was in the hospital. So
Fantastic.
it's been a crazy 2026, but we're back. We're going to get right back into the swing of things.
Oh,
We've got a lot to talk about. Comic-Con just happened in San Diego, so we're going to talk a little bit about news from that, some other news that has dropped since Comic-Con, because
mhm.
Marvel likes to announce things that are happening, not things that they're canceling at Comic-Con.
Right.
Um, what's new with you? How have you been, Josh?
Man, I've been busy. I've been busy. I dropped the new book finally in the spring, so I've been still working the same job and then spending like every weekend at a different con trying to get that out there. I
Yeah,
did not get invited back to New York Comic Con this year, so I've been spending the money that I would have spent on hotels and flights on other cons throughout the Midwest and found some real winners. So I'm excited to.
very
I
nice.
got more lined up for the fall, and I'm excited to go back to some of them next year.
Very nice. Um, we're going to blame Wilson Fisk for you not getting invited back. That seems like something that he's responsible for. That's another thing we haven't talked about is Daredevil. Um,
Oh, I know.
but
There's so much we haven't talked
there's
about,
so
honestly.
there's so
We
much.
could we couldn't catch up on it all, but we
No,
could talk about some stuff. Yeah.
but we can use things that are coming out in the near future to catch up on them. So when Daredevil season
Great.
3 drops, we can talk about season 2 because I'm probably going to
Yeah,
rewatch it. We can
for
talk
sure.
we can talk a little bit about Punisher before like as we talk about Spider-Man.
Yep.
There's a method to my madness here because the name of the podcast is Brilliant but Lazy. So it might be later than you expected it, but it'll be a good conversation. Um
Yes.
So we're going to start things off today talking about the big thing out of San Diego Comic-Con and outside of Comic-Con, the big thing down the line in December for Marvel, which is Doomsday. We have not had a chance to talk about the trailer that was dropped at Comic-Con. Have you seen the trailer that was dropped at San Diego?
Yes, I've seen everything that's officially been released this year.
Okay.
So all the little teasers, the long ass chair teaser that they originally put out like a year ago,
Yeah.
all the little snippets, and then this trailer. So yes, yes. What did you
Okay.
think of it?
I'm excited for this movie. I have been making jokes about Robert Downey Jr. coming back since they announced it. But I think they're just hearing the voice gave me all the confidence that this was the right choice.
Mm,
And like even if they don't show his face in the movie, which they're going to, um, I'm just excited to see all of these characters come back together because we got some new faces in here that haven't interacted with anyone like some of these other characters before. We have character like I saw somebody point out today that Ant-Man and Ghost are going to interact again for the first time since Ant-Man and the Wasp.
mm,
Um,
mm.
so that'll be interesting. Um, you got the Fantastic Four coming in, and it sounds like from what the Comic-Con trailer showed that they didn't release yet, is there is history between Doom and the Fantastic Four.
Mm.
You've got a bunch of the X-Men coming back with Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen and James Marsden, among others. Um, it's gonna it's gonna be a good day. Like I know it's doomsday, but it's gonna be a good day. So
Yeah, there's a lot going on, for sure. I'm cautiously optimistic. I mean, I can't imagine them dropping the ball on this,
yeah,
but you know, I'll just say this. So watching that trailer, knowing Doom through all of the iterations I've seen Doom in the years over the years through the comics and the cartoons and everything, I know Doom to be a formidable force, right?
Yeah.
But in the context of the MCU, especially with that speech that Thor gave, it's hard for me to really feel the fear, that we built up over time with Thanos. Thanos was several movies, all this build up, all these little things building up, and now you have a brand new villain that we've never heard of before in the context of the MCU, and Thor being like, "This is the baddest of the bad. We can't fight this. Be afraid." And I'm I'm wondering how they're gonna pull this off in one movie with literally no buildup.
S so Kevin Feige talked about that a little bit, like comparing the build up to Thanos to the build up for Doom. And he made the good point of we didn't really get to see Thanos do anything until Infinity War. Like we
Mhm,
saw him at the end of the Avengers smile at the camera. We saw him in Guardians of the Galaxy sit in a chair and yell at Ronan. And then we saw him
mhm.
put on the gauntlet in Age of Ultron. It didn't really do much. Like we knew he was there. We had people working for him, um, forces going out for him. Um, we haven't had much for Doom yet, except for the post credit scene in Fantastic Four. But it
Mhm.
seems like there's a connection with the Ten Rings and some of the stuff they were trying to set up with Kang. I think they're just switching over to Doom. So it's the
Yeah,
Ten Rings. It's the the Bengals from Ms. Marvel. Um, there are elements there. Like there's a supernatural element, and I think even the end of Multiverse of Madness might be setting up Doom, and we just haven't seen the resolution of that yet.
yeah.
Um, so I don't. I think if you like, we've had a few years of we knowing Doom is coming. Um,
Mhm.
so I don't need there to be that much build up. I think we're right where we need to be for build up. So.
Well, we got that massive cast and all these
Mhm.
storylines coming together, and so I'm like I said, I'm cautiously optimistic. I can't wait to see Gambit interacting with Shang-Chi, and I can't wait to see, more of these characters. I did think it was kind of funny that we see Rebecca Romaine's Mystique again, and immediately we get another Black Widow on Black Widow fight scene. We
Yeah.
literally just got that in Thunderbolts. I don't necessarily think we need another one. I hope we see more of just Rebecca Romaine because she's a badass. I want to, I just I am, this film will have to walk a tightrope of keeping in the moment of the plot while making sense for why all these people are here
Yeah.
without going down the rabbit hole of explaining how does Mystique have her powers again, why are we seeing this version of this person and not that. It's going to be a tightrope, and I think there's a good chance that they'll pull it off, but I'm more curious than not on how they're going to pull it off.
I I am too. Have you bought your tickets for Doomsday yet?
I, have not. I need to. I keep on forgetting that it's out, but,
Yeah.
just
Well,
like the
only
Odyssey, I didn't buy the Odyssey a year out, but I need to
yeah.
buy Doomsday.
The only tickets that are out for Doomsday right now are the Infinity Vision tickets. So,
Don't get me started on that.
yeah.
I love
Um,
Marvel, but I can't wait to I can't help but roll my eyes at the
I
Infinity
mean,
Vision.
everyone
Yeah.
can. So, like, I'm probably going to end up doing is seeing it in Infinity Vision because the theater the theater near me that has the closest theater that has premium format is
Mhm,
about 40 minutes away. It has
mhm,
a large screen that they call RCX, which is what the theater chain is. It's RC,
mhm,
which is certified Infinity whatever, um, Infinity Vision. And then next door to that is the IMAX screen, so I can go see Dune. So I'm just gonna
right.
stay at the theater all day and do the Doomsday thing because I missed out
There
on
you go.
Barbenheimer because I was in the hospital, um, dying. Eh, but I lived, so I can live to see
Mhm,
Doomsday.
that's
Um,
right.
so yeah. Um,
Yeah, I'm excited, man. I'm excited. It's been a minute since we've had a an Avengers film. So,
Well,
let's
we don't have to
go.
wait too long because they are re-releasing Infinity War. Or not Infinity War,
Endgame.
Endgame,
Yeah.
Endgame
Yeah.
Encore. So I feel like we're going to have to talk about that on here when that comes out next month. So,
Do you imagine doing a marathon? Like, I remember when they released Avengers 1 and they did a marathon of all the films leading up
oh
to that. And
geez, yeah.
I did that marathon. I mean, they couldn't do it anymore, but could you
I
imagine?
I think they did it going into Infinity War too, where they just showed everything. So it's like
Really? I mean,
24 hours in the theater, and then you got to see Infinity War.
it's got to be more than that. I
Yeah,
mean, but yeah, that's insane. Like I've done the box office or the Oscars marathon before, but that was a maximum of 9 or 10 films, depending on the
yeah,
year. Not
yeah.
whatever 20 something, 30 something films the MCU is now.
I do plan on rewatching everything since Endgame movie-wise, and then a few shows here and there. Like, I'm not gonna go back and revisit, Secret Invasion. You can't make me. But, like, Loki, I will go back and revisit at least the
Hmm.
finale of season 2, and all of the movies, I think,
Hmm.
because all the movies that seem to fit into there's a lot of these movies that I've only seen once. And I'm gonna
Hmm.
make my co-hosts on You Have to Watch This podcast watch because they haven't seen them. So
Yeah.
they're gonna be watching Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four, maybe even the Marvels. I don't know. Depends on if that actually plays into this or not. But um,
I mean that
so,
post credit scene,
yeah,
or not the post credit scene, just the end. What was it?
yeah,
Post credit?
I think
The
it was
Beast?
post credit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Animated
um,
Beast? Weird.
yeah. Um, speaking of weird, uh, they made a big announcement at San Diego Comic Con this year about Ghost Rider. Um,
Yeah.
they announced that um, Ryan Gosling will be playing Ghost Rider in an upcoming Marvel film. What are your thoughts on this casting?
I love Ryan Gosling. I think he's both hilarious and a good drama actor. I love that he has uh, already played a character that rides a motorcycle and does stunts in what was it? It was like the place beyond the pines.
Okay.
And then he was also in a stuntman movie called The Fall Guy. So I feel
Yeah.
like combining those two factor into this. I love all the fan posters of all of his previous movies that have been retrofitted for Ghost Ghost Rider.
Yeah.
Like there's a Drive poster out there and Barbie, and I mean he's
I,
hot stuff. Let's see it.
ah!
I'll take it.
I see what you did there. My favorite reaction to it has been why Grace head on fire question, like from Project Hail Mary. I'm excited. He seems like he's wanted to play this character for a while. Um, they've been trying to make it happen. They had some fun with it um, at Comic Con, so I'm excited for this. It'll be nice to see if they use this to build into the Midnight Suns and maybe um, bring back in Moon Knight and Mephisto. Find somebody else playing Blade, because the news that dropped this week is that Mahershala Ali, who was announced 4 years ago to be playing Blade at Comic Con, is no longer playing Blade.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Did you say 4 years or 40? Because it feels
For
like at least several decades ago that they announced it. I feel bad for him. I think he's an excellent actor. I'm sure we had this conversation all those years ago. I thought it was worrisome that they were casting him to begin with because of his age. But then the more you heard about the initial plans for that film, it was going to be a handoff film anyway,
yeah,
and I don't think anybody liked that. So, I mean, I read that quote from him. He was like, "They have billions of dollars. If they wanted to make the movie, they would have made it." And honestly, I mean, at the end of the day, nothing's truer than that. So, it's
yeah.
too bad. It's too bad.
It really is. We did get his voice in the Eternals. He did get to play Blade, and I think Marvel Zombies.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, but
Yep.
they're probably just gonna bring back Wesley Snipes. Oh, wow. Um, but
I mean, that didn't help.
no, it didn't.
That that was and everybody loved that moment, so that really didn't help, and, Wesley Snipes ain't getting a lot of movies these days anyway, so I'm sure he was just like, "Hey, I gotta take what I can get," you know?
Yeah.
Sure it wasn't personal, but speaking of Mephisto, I think it was either rumor or it was confirmed that he's gonna be in, Ghost Rider,
Yeah,
so
so
that's cool.
I'm hoping they're building towards Midnight Suns and bringing in the, supernatural side of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Um,
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
and I
Universe
guess
side, I'm down for it.
continue some of what happened in Ironheart, I guess. Who knows? Um,
I love to forget about that show.
yeah.
What's your preference or do you care? Old style Ghost Rider or the new style? You know what I'm talking about? That new look?
Um, I think they're probably gonna go a combination. I really
Yeah.
don't know what they're going to do because if you look at the Marvel Cinematic Universe and count Agents of Shield as canon, we've had Ghost Rider
You know,
already.
Kevin Feige does not.
He
You
does
know
not.
he does not.
Um, but there's nothing to say that they didn't do Johnny Blaze on that. So they could do Johnny Blaze with a motorcycle.
Sure.
Um, maybe even bring in Nick Cage to help hand off. Like that'll be fun. Like I don't know what saga we're going to be in after Secret Wars, but the multiverse is still might still be a thing. So they could still have some fun
Mhm.
with this. So,
That'd be cool
but
if they give Nick Cage a little nod there. I mean, it's
yeah,
not like he's too far off from the Marvel universe, being in the Sony Spider-Man universe. So
yeah,
give him a bone.
yeah. As long as Ryan Gosling pisses fire, I'll be happy. So, um, other thing, so they have a they need to find a new actor for Blade. Um, but this week Marvel also announced that they canceled season 2 of Wonder Man. Uh, did you get a chance to watch Wonder Man?
Yes, not when it came out. I'm not gonna lie. I had little to no hopes for that show. I was burned by the last couple Marvel shows, and it was just like, okay, and to be fair, I'd never read any Marvel Man comics or anything like that, so or Wonder Man comics, so I didn't really know what to expect, but I did get around to watching it, and I thought it was great. I really liked that show. I thought it was genuinely just a well-made show.
I did
What about
too.
you?
I I meant to change the poster out behind me. I have been a fan of the Trevor Slattery storyline since Iron Man 3. I love Iron Man 3. It's one of my favorite MCU films. Um, what they did with this show, it's a very slow burn to start,
Mhm,
but it pays off in the end.
mhm,
It's so fun and different, and it's what I want the Marvel shows to be is like, we're in this universe, but this is a smaller story. It's not gonna be, uh, capes and masks and suits. It's gonna be like, this is an actor who has superpowers. Like, what's his story? And, oh, this guy who used to be a terrorist or play a terrorist is now involved as well and working for damage control. Um I really enjoyed it. I thought it was hilarious. I love the Joey Pants stuff. Like bringing him in was wonderful. When they announced season 2 for this, I was overjoyed because they I didn't think it was going to get a season 2, and turns out I was
mhm.
right. Um, it it's if they're shifting how they're doing content and stepping away from Disney Plus, I get it. Um,
Mm,
But maybe someday there will be a special presentation of Wonder Man and they do like a short film, like a 1 hour special like they did for Punisher, and
mm.
it's Wonder Man, like just to wrap up the story because it left on such a cliffhanger. Or bring him into something else, like if they do West Coast Avengers or something.
No, that would be fun. Yeah, I was excited when they announced the season 2 as well. I think it was more than deserving. Apparently the cast was excited as well because everybody continued talking about it. I mean, Ben Kingsley was talking about it only a couple weeks ago in an
Yeah,
interview. So I think this was a surprise to everybody. I'm sure it's more complicated than what they're making it out to be, but I heard the stuff about like the writers that they didn't get on it fast enough and they had to legally release them to go do other things. And but then, okay, but that's the writers. Granted, the writers was what made it so good, but why can't you go get other writers? I feel like it's more than
yeah,
just they had to let the writers go. So it's disappointing because it was really good,
yeah,
but I mean, maybe that's indicative of the whole Marvel Disney Plus era, and that they're trying to close that out.
yeah. But I'm hoping that hoping we get to see this character again in the future. It seems
Me
like
too.
he's willing to come back. So,
Mm-hmm.
um,
Mm-hmm.
and speaking of things that were canceled, um, Booster Gold over at DC was canceled as well. Is no longer moving forward. It was in pre-production for HBO Max, I think, or is this a film?
No, I could have swore it was HBO Max. I don't think it was going to be a theatrical. I
Yeah, I
could
don't
be
know.
wrong.
I'm not sure. I should have. I
Under
should.
James Gunn, I don't know these days.
Yeah.
Their
Um,
priorities seem to be all over the place.
yeah. Booster Gold was going to happen in some form. It is no longer happening in
Mhm.
any form. Um, but I'm wondering if that has something to do with the fact that they're bringing back Blue Beetle for Man of Tomorrow.
Right. I
So
saw that. I saw that.
maybe when you have
I'm
Blue Beetle still in the DCU, you go a different route with Booster Gold.
mhm. I mean, I think, it's every time these announcements happen, you wonder when they're going to learn their lesson of announcing things years in advance. Like, I mean, if you want to avoid negative criticism and stuff from the audience before you even make a film, how about not announcing it till you're ready to announce it? I mean, this is the Booster Gold thing. I don't think we're really losing an amazing film. It was an interesting character, but I wasn't really excited about it. But you could have saved yourself the trouble by not announcing it years in advance, and then once you actually start making it, then maybe announce it. It just seems weird to me. It's born out of those epic timelines from early years of Marvel, and now they just can't get away from that. They think they have to do that, and then it's 50-50 if the movie actually comes out.
Okay, so it hasn't been canceled. I apologize. It's being revamped with a new creative team. Because what happened was the writer for this show came out after Mahershala Ali announced he was leaving Blade and saying if they wanted to make it, they would make it. Th- it's just not in the cards for me right now. And he took that statement and said, "I can't say it any better. Booster Gold's not
Yeah,
happening with me." And it is a series for HBO Max. Um,
I saw
so
that tweet and I thought the same thing. So,
yeah,
okay, well, I guess we'll see. But one thing they did announce at San Diego, I don't know if you had it in your notes or not, was Black Panther.
oh yeah, they did announce Black Panther 3. I did not have that. I forgot to talk about that.
They announced Black
Um,
Panther 3
yeah,
and the new T'Challa, or T'Challa Jr. Actor grown up. So,
yeah, they
real
announced that.
quick, what were your thoughts on that casting?
Uh, I haven't seen what is it, the Long Walk? I haven't
Hmm.
seen that, so
Hmm.
I'm not familiar with the actor at all, but I know he was a lot of people's fan casting. I think there was a
Hmm.
tweet from, like, 2 years ago where somebody was like, "He would be great as T'Challa Jr." Um, and now it's happened. So, that's the era that we live in. So,
I mean, same with Gosling. That was a fan casting from a lot
yeah.
of people as well. Odd fan casting to me, but I mean, still, I really like him. I think he's great. I don't know if I'm pronouncing his last. Is it Johnson? David Johnson? It's spelled weird, but
Yeah, I think
I think
so.
he's great. Um, I think he's great. He was good in The Long Walk. I saw him. I thought he was great in Alien Romulus. Um,
Okay.
and that was a great alien movie, and he played a great android in that film. So I think he's great. I think I'll be interested to see like how he's aged up. Like, did they put him in another timeline and then they bring him back or something? But either way, I think it's cool. I wonder if we're gonna get like, is Shuri gonna die in Doomsday, or is she just gonna hand it over because of how Black Panther 2, ended,
Yeah.
with her recognizing that, he is the son of Prince T'Challa, and, it's his destiny or whatnot, but I'll be interested in how they do it, but I'm excited.
I'm excited for it too. It'll be very interesting to see how it plays out. Um,
Mhm.
but that's all post Secret Wars. So
Yeah.
um
True.
2028. We got 2 years before that. I'm excited because Ryan Coogler's sticking to shooting on large format, 70 millimeter film. He can't say IMAX because it's not IMAX for Marvel anymore. It's Infinity Vision. Um, but it'll probably be an IMAX. Um,
Mhm. Mhm.
but yeah, so let's get into today's main topic, which is Spider-Man Brand New Day. So if you're new here,
Mhm.
uh, what we like to do is we talk a little bit about the film generally, what our thoughts were. We rate it brilliant or lazy, and then we will dive into spoilers. So Spider-Man Brand New Day was released on July 31st, um, starring Tom Holland, Zendaya, and uh, John Barenthal. Those are the 3 I'm gonna talk about first. What were your thoughts going into Brand New Day? Like, were you excited for this? Was anything spoiled for you? Were you aware of
Um
anything?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of theories online. What I appreciated were I was genuinely excited for this movie, not just because I'm a Spider-Man fan, but for two big reasons. One, for the past couple years, I've heard that Tom Holland has been all over this movie, and if it's not good, we're not going to make it, and if it's not the right direction he feels that we should go, then we're not going to make it. And you could look at that in a negative light, but I looked at it as okay, quality control, and I'm all for it. The second thing was I noticed that they had intention around the trailers. There was not a lot of spoilers in those trailers, and I appreciate that. There's so many movies where damn near after the first teaser, I don't trust the trailer making editors because they throw all the good shit in the trailer, and then you can either piece together the entire movie or make an educated guess, and I hate doing that. So I felt that they intentionally crafted the trailers to keep a lot of this movie out. And so I went into it having seen two trailers and still like excited to see what it was, and I was very pleasantly rewarded. I really liked the film. What about
I
you? What was your build up to this?
My build up to this was I had seen a few trailers. Uh, I try to avoid any spoilers online,
Mhm.
but there were theories, and I see the theories about what's going to happen and people overanalyzing the trailer. What I really enjoyed was they didn't set up the bit like Spider-Man has one of the best rogue galleries in all of comic books, and they didn't set up like, "Okay, this is the Spider-Man versus the Scorpion movie. This is the Spider-Man versus Kingpin or Green Goblin or Doc Ock." You didn't have that big bad going into this. There
Mhm.
were a lot of shots of him fighting some of his rogues gallery, like Scorpion and Tombstone, in the trailer, that ended up just being like a montage of catching up with
Mhm.
Spider-Man. Um, but you didn't have that big bad going into it. Like in the marketing, there wasn't like the poster with Doc Ock looking over his shoulder like you had for Spider-Man 2 that you didn't know about like the symbiote or anything. There's nothing saying like this is the big bad for this movie. Not knowing who the big bad was in a Marvel movie, I think this is the first time that that's happened.
Yeah, that's an
Um,
incredible feat.
yeah, um, and the fact that they pulled it off as well as they did amazes me. Um, but I think No Way Home ended on such a great note, and I think everyone's been looking forward to seeing what happens next with Peter Parker and MJ and Ned. That doing the time jump and going 4 years in the future after No Way Home worked out perfectly because you
Mhm.
get that fun montage establishing that he has fought Scorpion since Homecoming. Like he has come back. He's living life as Spider-Man more than he is Peter Parker, and he's being recognized as a hero. Um, I think it. I really enjoyed this movie. There's so much of this that like I don't know if I have a bad thing to say about this.
Mm,
I'm sure
mm,
I'll come up with something, but um, I can't really think of a bad thing to say about this. I love this movie. This might be top 3 Spider-Man movies for me.
mm. It was a solid film. It was a solid film for Tom Holland's Spider-Man. Um, I appreciated, without getting into spoilers, I appreciated some of those slow action shots from the trailer. What made me smile and think, "Oh, this is going to be a good movie," immediately is those were mostly part of a montage in the
Mhm.
beginning of the film. And I was like, "Oh, snap. If that is in the beginning of the film, that means there's so much of the film
Yeah.
that was not in the trailer that I'm ready for, you know?"
They
And I
y
appreciated that.
I had a moment like that too where I'm like, "Okay, they shown most of the trailer stuff already. They've been hiding a lot," which
Mhm.
they did before, and I think
Mhm.
they're smart to do that because you go into a Spider-Man movie not knowing what's going to happen, and then you get the surprise of whatever they have for you, and it works great.
Yep.
Um, yeah, I think that that's a feat to be applauded all of its own. So,
Agreed.
yeah.
Agreed. I What did you think of the new director?
Uh, Dan Destin Daniel Cretton, who did Shang-Chi and some of, Wonder Man as well.
Mhm.
I really enjoyed his direction on this. Like, it pays homage to a lot of the Spider-Mans of the past, in subtle ways. Like, it's not obvious that we're recreating this shot from the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, or we're stealing this move from Andrew Garfield's. It puts its own spin on like you see Tom Holland moving like Andrew Garfield Spider-Man. You see him doing things that Toby did. Um, but it has its own twist on it. Like it's paying homage without stealing from it. Like it's a
Mm,
subtle
mhm.
reference, and I really enjoy that. I think the action in this is some of the best action I've ever seen in a Spider-Man movie because they borrowed so much from the game. They use that as the
Yes. I've
influence.
seen side by side frames and it's fantastic. Yeah.
It made me want to go in and buy the second game because I still have not played that. Um,
Oh, my heart.
I know. Um, but I'm still working on PS4, man. Like, I just
Uh,
figured out how to play things from my PC on my projector screen, so it's
okay, you're getting there. You're
I'm
getting
getting
there.
there. Let me get through Lego Batman first, and then I'll move on to Spider-Man 2. Um, but no, I think there's so much good about this movie. Uh, a lot of the things that I liked about Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, I liked about this. The fight scenes
Mm,
looked great. You could follow them easily. And they didn't really take away from the plot. Like everything worked well and it wasn't just chaos for chaos sake.
mhm, mhm. I really appreciated this director. I appreciate what John Watts did with the other films. There was a Breakfast Club quality to it that was on purpose, and it worked for the age of Spider-Man and the part of his life that he was in. But with this film, post the events of No Way Home, and the knowledge that we know that, you know, he's Spider-Man, so he's gonna have he's gonna have his quirks and he's gonna have his lovable attitude, but the Peter Parker side of him has got to be lonely, you know.
Mhm.
The last time we saw him, he lost his main family member, and then he lost all of his friends and anybody that knows him for who he is, and now he's truly alone. And I just felt like this director really brought that home. There was an elevated sense to this film that it felt more cinematic than the previous versions. It also was shot more dark, and I was lucky enough to see this in a Dolby screen that really takes advantages of the blacks on the screen. And there were points in this where Peter Parker is just sitting alone in his room, and I'm like, that is a great shot, like it just looks so good. And so I thought he killed it with this. Great director, great choice, and yeah, I think he did really well.
Yeah, I wanna see it again,
Me too.
soon. I think even some of the daylight stuff, like, it's not just sunny skies in New York City. Like, there's a lot of that slow montage stuff is, like, gloomy skies, it's winter, like, they really play
Mhm.
with the way New York City looks, and the fact that they didn't shoot any of this in New York
I
City is
know.
fantastic to me.
Yeah,
They shot it in
yeah.
London of all places because you can shut down streets in London, but you can't do that in New York, even if you have Marvel money. Um,
Anymore. You used to be
yeah,
able to.
yeah.
Vanilla
I mean,
Sky. Vanilla Sky
yeah,
did that.
yeah,
Yeah, what they really paid homage or paid homage to New York. New York was a character in this film, and that's where Spider-Man's from. And we've seen Spider-Man in Europe, and we've seen Spider-Man in DC. We really needed to see Spider-Man in New York, and I felt like they did that.
and there are elements of this that they've done in other Spider-Man films to make New York a character and such a big part of the city, and it just fell flat in those. But here, and we'll
Mhm.
get into this in spoilers, there's a moment where it's a similar moment from a different Spider-Man movie, but it works so much better here.
Mm,
Um,
mm.
and I'll get into that when we get into spoilers. So I think we're to the point now where we have to dive into spoilers. Um, let's give our rankings. Do you
Yep.
how
Yep.
where do you put Spider-Man Brand New Day? Brilliant or lazy?
Oh, it's brilliant for me. It's definitely brilliant. This had a lot riding on it. This had a lot going into it. A lot of ways you could drop the ball. A lot of ways this could be like a lackluster follow up to the previous events. For as long as it feels like it's been a minute since we had Spider-Man on screen, and they were hyping this up, and especially Tom Holland just saying this needs to be better. This needs to be great in order for us to do this film. And so there's a lot writing on it, and I thought they
Yeah.
nailed it. I think it's brilliant for sure.
I I think it's brilliant as well. Um, they like I said, probably top 3 Spider-Man films.
Mm,
Um,
hmm.
I can't think of a bad thing to say about it. So,
Yeah.
um,
Yep.
yeah. With that, we are going to dive into spoilers. So if you have not seen Spider-Man Brand New Day, this is your spoiler alert. Um, I'm going to start us off. We don't I think it's a very bold choice to cast Sadie Sink as a Tony Stark variant. I did not see that coming.
Nope. No.
No. Um, we can talk about the Sadie Sink of it all a little bit later. I want to because there's the one of the strongest aspects of this movie to me is the fact that they have so many Marvel characters in this
Yeah. Yeah.
outside of Spider-Man, and they none of them manage like none of them take away from the Spider-Man story. It works so well. Um, I think John Barenthal and Tom Holland have better chemistry than anything I've seen with Tom Holland and Zendaya. Um, and they've known each other longer. So
Mm,
I think it's a whole different kind of relationship, but I bought into the Punisher and Spider-Man stuff so much. Like I just want to see a whole give me 2 hours of that and I would be happy. Um I think Hulk played such a minor part in this, and he didn't need to be there, but it worked. You could take him out of this movie, and it would still be just as good. You did not need him in this
Mhm.
movie. Um, I'm trying to think, and I think a lot of the minor characters they had in there, like the Hand and Tombstone, I think they served a purpose. I think that we will probably see some of them down the line again in Spider-Man stuff. But I what I really liked is the all the subtle callbacks. Like you build an inhibitor chip, okay? That's what Peter's doing for most of this movie. He's building an inhibitor chip because he's mutating into more spider than man. Um, and they make it look just enough like Otto Octavius' inhibitor chip from
Mm.
No Way Home and Spider-Man 2. And that just
Mhm.
made that just made me happy. It's like, okay, like he's learning from the interactions he had in the last movie. Um,
Yeah.
at one point, like when he starts getting the organic webbing, he's like, "Okay, Peter too had organic webs. Like, I can do this." Like he seemed cool. Like I like that they didn't ignore the fact that he met other Spider-Mans because I feel like there
Mhm.
are times where you'll have like superheroes do the crossover stuff and then that never happened. Like I feel like
Yeah.
CW was notorious for like, oh yeah, the Flash just hung out with Supergirl for a musical episode, but we're not going to talk about that again
Right.
because it was weird. But I like that they acknowledged all of that in this movie. Like it still happened. Like he still remembers Toby and Andrew and all that, and the suit. Like just the inspiration of the suit from both of those characters still gets me. I love that suit so much.
Yeah. The MCU stuff in there felt very organic. It didn't feel like Thor's side mission in Age of Ultron with the ring or with the stones and everything that was clearly setting up another film and could have been cut from the movie altogether. You know, it felt was that wasn't Age of Ultron, right? Or was that
Yeah,
Civil
yeah.
War? It was
That
in
was
one
Age
of
of
those
Ultron.
films. Yeah, and it felt like, okay, you I guess you gotta set it up more with the stones, you know, but it really had nothing to do with the film at hand. This film, yeah, it made sense the reason why they had Hulk in there and that he would go to him as a brain to bounce an idea off. You know, they didn't talk about why Hulk is this version now. They didn't talk about Hulk's son and stuff like that, but that's fine. We don't need all of that. Um,
I have a theory on why Hulk has to wear why Banner is wearing that inhibitor. Um,
okay.
I think it's because he's teaching. I think for him to be in a classroom with students,
Oh, yeah. You would know, you have personal
the school
experience
was be
doing it.
like, okay, we know who you are. In order for you to teach, this is what we are asking. Is this possible? And he'd be, yeah, I can do that. Um,
Yeah.
I
You can
think I
fight Thanos, but
that's
you can't hold your room with teenagers. Yeah.
that's my headcanon is like just for liability reasons,
Yeah.
insurance is making him do that. And I feel like Banner would be like, yeah, you know what? I'll play game with that. Like I know me and the big guy are good. Um, but just so you're comfortable, I'm okay with doing
Mhm.
that. And
I like
I'm sure he looked it over with his cousin lawyer too. So
mhm. I liked Yelena being in
mhm.
there. He didn't meet her at the new Avengers Tower. He met her at a bathhouse, but that felt like it worked with that character.
Yeah. So one of the things that the internet said to me about this movie beforehand was there is a scene where Florence Pugh and Peter Parker, Tom Holland are naked together. And I'm like, bullshit. Like that is not something they're putting into a Spider-Man movie. And I was wrong.
Yeah, you were wrong. Mhm.
um, and that's all I'm going to say about that. Um, but no,
Yeah.
I think her being in there as like a liaisons to the new Avengers and showing that he's still in connection with other heroes outside of Punisher, like working on the small potatoes,
Mhm.
establishing that he is a street level hero now. He's not worrying. about being part of the Avengers or the new Avengers or whatever team he is going whatever teams are going on in the MCU right now. He's
Hmm.
working on the street level stuff with the NYPD and damage control, and I like that. And I like that um she's able to see through how lonely he is and all of that. So,
Yeah,
um
I thought
yeah,
she
I
was great. John Berthnall's Punisher. Um,
yes.
I, first of all, I love the history that he has with Tom Holland. I love the fact that he was the one that shot his audition tape and that he's been kind of with Tom Holland through this whole ride. I think that is fantastic.
Mhm.
When I found that out, I was like, wow, that is really just neat. And so it was neat that they were in this film together. Uh, I thought he was great in the film. It was a little jarring to see this version of the Punisher after his one shot special presentation
Mhm.
for Disney Plus, because I got to be honest with you, I didn't like that special presentation at all. I thought Dirty Laundry back in the day with Thomas Jane was a hell of a better special presentation one off than this, and I really didn't like what they did with him and how much he seemed to let things happen around him before he forced himself to get involved. It just I did not like that short at all, and I have no interest in watching it again. And to see him go from that to this, I get it. It's PG-13 movie. I wasn't expecting him to drop F-bombs, but it did feel like an ultra toned down version of the character. Did it work for the film? Yes. If I had not seen the special presentation, I don't think I would be as critical about it.
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of the special presentation as well. Um, but Punisher's never really been my character. I've never seen
Mm,
any of the Punisher movies. So,
mm,
um, but I liked him in Daredevil back on Netflix, and I liked him in Born Again, and I think the
mhm,
character works very well. I never really got into his show. Um, but he is an R-rated character, and I think when you are telling like if you were to put Punisher in a Spider-Man comic, they would tone him down too. Like it's not going to be the
mhm.
um same R-rated Punisher that you would see in his books. It would be toned down a bit. It's through the lens of a Spider-Man audience. So I think it works well here. Because he
Yeah,
even for a Spider-Man thing, he's like you don't usually see guns in Spider-Man stuff because that's how Uncle Ben died.
right.
And that's why he's against guns. It's like any hero who loses somebody to a gun is against guns, which makes sense. But he's like the way they address like the different uh theologies of Spider-Man and Punisher works very well for me. Like Peter's like, yeah, no, we're not shooting anyone, Frank. Like I'm stopping
Mhm,
you before I go stop this bad guy. Like,
mhm.
but we're good. Like, but they still there's still like respect there. Like I get where you're coming from, but no, not now, Frank.
Yeah, and I did like that while the one Spider-Man cover that they didn't duplicate was the famous Punisher scope crosshairs with Spider-Man, but they did make a reference to that in the plot of the film. So I appreciated that
Mhm.
moment a lot. What my one, and this I told you I was going to bring this up. It's going to be very short. My one thing though, even though he is an R-rated character, I was fine with him not dropping the F-bomb. I
Yeah.
thought that this film was heavy enough and it did well for a PG-13 film. And I don't want to compare and rant and everything, but I can't help but notice that there was another PG-13 superhero film this summer called Supergirl, where the protagonist was dropping bitch and whore and shit and all these other things. And I was like, this doesn't feel like a great superhero film. I don't care how edgy you want to make it. I didn't really like the main character cussing as much as she did. And I love that actress. And I really didn't like that film. And so to come to this film and have a clearly R-rated character that I think most people would have forgiven the film if they had used their one or two F bombs on him. The fact that they didn't, I walked away thinking, all right, I like it. It's not only a good film, but it's also a family friendly film, and I can appreciate that.
Yeah, I feel like we do have to talk about Supergirl at some point. Um,
At some point, we will.
yeah, but yeah, I think he does use like Frank uses some language that you wouldn't hear from Spider-Man in this.
Hmm.
But it still works for PG-13, and it's not
Yes.
anything too obscene for kids. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, do you want to talk about the main villain? Are we ready to talk about that yet?
yeah,
I
let's
guess one more thing we could talk about before we talk about the
yes,
main villain is damage control. I really
yes.
liked what they did with damage control. Um, it's not it's not the other thing. What was the thing that that Michael Keaton worked for? Was
The
that was it?
took the no, that
Yeah.
was Damage Control. Damage Control came
Was that
in
damage
Homecoming.
control?
They came in
Okay.
and robbed him of his lifestyle, which is why he became the Vulture.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they introduced Damage Control in Spider-Man: Homecoming, and Damage Control's showed up again in No Way Home and was in um, Ms. Marvel and Wonder Man, and they've shown up
Okay. So it has
throughout.
been damage control all this time. Okay.
Yes,
Well,
but
I liked them in this film with their behemoth of a building. I thought that was a hilarious shot that it
yeah,
just kept on
they've
going.
grown so much and have become a lot more powerful in the MCU. And you have Tremel Tillman from Severance in there playing the lead of Damage Control, and
He's great. I love the
he is
best
great.
actor.
Um, so like I guess the big spoiler is that the main villain of this movie is Damage Control.
Hmm.
Um, and I knew as soon as I saw Tremel Tillman at the desk in Damage Control, I was like, okay, they're the bad guy. Like, I'm curious how they get there, but I knew that was coming as soon as I saw him there. Cause like, that's why you cast that guy. He's
Hmm.
great on Severance. I feel like we're going to see him again in the future.
Oh,
Um,
we better. We better.
but and it's nice to have a payoff of Damage Control being the bad guy and what they're seeing the dark side of them in this because they've been building up to it for almost 10 years now since Homecoming.
Hmm.
Um,
Well, and you had the perfect steps to that too, because he had the right talking points, right? He had the donor talking points of, not everybody's a threat. You just got to find a way to make them, benefit society. And when you're standing in front of a room full of donors, like you would feel like, oh yeah,
mhm,
that's the uplifting, voice that we want. But then when you step back and you're like, but how is he making these villains work for him now? And is there a sinister side to it, and is there an
yeah.
alternative motive for all this? And we see that come to play, and
It,
I loved it.
it and the last thing I will say about Damage Control is, um, has to do with Peter Parker building his own inhibitor chip to, like, suppress
Hmm.
his mutation thing.
Hmm.
He is truly living up to the Tony Stark legacy of building something that's going to shoot him in the foot a movie from now.
Yeah.
Because that's a Tony Stark move. That's going to have implications. The universal inhibitor is going to have implications throughout the MCU for years to come. If
Yes.
Damage Control actually has a copy of that, like if they were able to duplicate that technology, Peter Parker is like a Tony Stark level threat. Like,
Well, I mean, the villain got away at the end of the film, and we also saw Peter throw away his inhibitor chip. So who's to say that that didn't get picked up?
yeah.
And yeah, I thought of that chip, and before I even thought of the inhibitors with Doc Ock, and the last film, which was the last Spider-Man film, I should have thought of that. I thought of the Deadpool 2 film because there was a whole prison that had inhibitor chips, and I
Mhm.
was like, okay, this would be interesting if this is kind of the route they go, and it was a good intention by Spider-Man that ended up enslaving half the X-Men.
Yeah, now I think there have been, like, power inhibitors used before in the MCU, like, I feel like the Raft had them in Civil War, but,
Mm,
um, it was just nice to see Peter Parker continuing the legacy of Tony Stark. The true the true
yes.
legacy of Stark. Um, where's my bird? Uh, but before it's revealed that damage control is, the big bad, um, Peter spent a lot of his time being confronted by Sadie Sink's character, who is revealed to be Jean Grey of X-Men
Mhm.
fame.
Of
Um,
Twitter rumors fame, because
yeah.
that was, people nailed that real quick. And to be fair, when I watched the trailer, I was racking my brain for Spider-Man Rogue Gallery villains that had that power set, and I'm like, I can't think of one. And Jean Grey just feels like that would work, and
Mhm.
that's what it was. What did you think of that reveal and this
I
version of the character?
I think the reveal for at least for my theater, the reveal wasn't like a, "Oh, wow" moment. It was like, "Oh, okay." Like
Makes sense. Yeah.
it wasn't like a moment where Toby and Andrew came out of the portals. It was, "Okay, yeah, we're doing Jean Grey." Like, we kinda figured
Hmm.
that because 'cause you're not gonna make her Mary Jane because she's a redhead. Um,
Right.
it works for me.
Hmm.
This is the first Marvel film to have characters from Sony, Fox, Universal, and Netflix. Like, this is the first MCU film to have all of those together. So this is
Got
like
them
Kevin
all.
Feige being
Yep.
like, "We finally have everything under our control, except for kind of
Mm.
Hulk." Don't have
Hmm.
don't expect a Hulk solo movie, but everyone's here. Which I thought was just like a nice cathartic thing to have. Like, it's a bold move to make introduce your first actual X-Men in a Spider-Man movie. 10 years ago, I would not have thought that would be possible. Like, I did not think this we would live in a world where Jean Grey is in a Spider-Man movie, yet alone any mutant. Um, but what they did with her worked so well, and I think having her hidden for almost half of the film worked very well. Like, you don't see her until almost the halfway point,
Hmm.
because I
And
heard
the
somebody
buildup is great. I loved
I think
before
somebody's
you feel it.
yeah, and I feel like somebody in my theater was like, "Oh, I didn't know she was in this," because they did a great job of hiding her in the marketing. They did very
Yep.
few things of her, like, promoting the movie. Like, anything that she did, she was by herself, which was kinda sad, but there was
I
also
know.
there's also a great video of her saying, like, "Here's who I am not playing. I am not playing Aunt May. I am not playing Spider-Man." Um
Yeah, I mean, so yeah, unless you are somebody that watches all of the build up and all the promo interviews and stuff like that, then yeah, I could see that being a nice reveal. Like, oh, okay, the Stranger Things chick is in
Mhm.
this movie. That's great. I Yeah, there was no audible gasp when they revealed that she was Jean Grey, but at the same time, there wasn't a groan like with the Khan moment in Star Trek Into Darkness, where everybody was like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, we know."
You
This
know,
was just like it made sense.
I thought about the con reveal too. I was like, they did this so much better than because they never denied that they were like, it's not Jean Grey. It wasn't
Right.
like, "Oh, we think Sadie Sink's playing Jean Grey, huh? Huh?" And they're like,
Mhm.
I got nothing to tell you." It wasn't,
Mhm.
"She's not Jean Grey," where it was, "He's
Yeah.
not Khan. We're not doing Khan."
Right.
To the point where "Oh, it's
But
Khan." Ugh. Like, that's what made the difference here.
yes, the one audible gasp around her character though was the initial Mary Jane kiss sequence. That was fantastically done. I think the build up to her reveal was the great part of her character, because you had this awkward jumping back and forth. You had the people talking to Spider-Man on the street and knowing it's Peter saying, "I'm in your home right now," and
Mhm.
oh, I'm gonna go after Mary Jane, and then that kiss sequence, uh, when it I knew it was gonna be her, but when it's revealed that it's not Mary Jane kissing Spider-Man and that she doesn't remember him, my theater gasped. and I loved that moment. I thought that was a solid bit of writing.
That
What
that
did
was
you
a
think of that reveal?
that was a great moment. It was almost like it was close to, but not as good as the, Michael Keaton realizing Spider-Man's and taking his daughter
Yep.
to homecoming. It was
The
close.
open the door
It
moment.
yeah,
Yeah. Mhm.
it was close to that, but I really enjoyed that moment too. Um, I'm not gonna lie, they got me there. Like, I thought it was MJ, but
I was praying and hoping that it wasn't. I was like, please, please don't let Doctor Strange's spell be taken away by a kiss, like and because if for one, that would have been dumb, but for two, I would have been like, you waited 4 years to kiss this girl, like you could have, I mean, you could have done this 4 years ago, because that's the other thing. This has been 4 years since the
yeah.
last film in universe, and so he's gone 4 years without interacting with these people, and then for him to just, he needs to save her. She's, her personality hasn't changed, and so between her and Ned, they know he's a good guy. So even though she doesn't know why he's there to save her, she trusts him. But then, yeah, her kissing him and remembering him, I was like, this is too good to be true, and thank God it wasn't, because that was a great twisted reveal. um I mean, she's messed up in this film, and
Yeah,
I've seen some people say, "Well, this is a terrible introduction. You want her to be messed up later." And it's like, I don't mind her being messed up as a young version of herself, because she hasn't been taken in by the X-Men and she hasn't
yeah.
been counseled, and if she's gone through something traumatic, she's going to be acting out. So, let's go. It's not Dark Phoenix, it's just a very hurt person with powers, and I like that.
And I really like that we've had 3 films of Peter being under the wing of another hero. Iron Man, Nick
Mhm.
Fury slash the Skrull, and Doctor Strange. And then here, he gets to be that mentor. Like, he gets to help
Yep.
guide a younger hero down the right path. Like, she's about to go full dark, uh, dark eagle, let's say. So I'm just trying to think of a bird. Um, uh, she's about to go to the dark side, and he's able to talk her down with her using her powers and doing that whole thing with Aunt May and helping show her that she's not alone. And I really enjoyed their interactions in that final sequence where he's like trying to get to her and she has like half of the city frozen with her powers. Um and that she can see like how flawed he is as a hero too. Like she's tormenting him with everything that she's finding, but I think there's still a little bit of sympathy there. Like I feel like she feels bad for him, but she's still
Mhm.
like she's on a mission to save her sister. Um
Mhm.
and yeah.
Yeah, that VMAX reveal, I loved it, because I
Mhm.
was racking my brain like, what could VMAX stand for? I'm trying to, I'm
My
thinking back to the games and the comics and everything, but what that reveal was just
what
heart-wrenching and great.
it was what I was thinking it was going to be, and I think I was thinking it was like, okay, so VMAX is kind of close to X-Men, like
Yeah,
XV,
yeah,
like
yeah.
I was like, okay, maybe it's something like that, and it's just getting scrambled. But no, like that reveal was gut wrenching, and um, I feel like this was a great representation of Jean Grey's powers too. Like it's not getting into the Dark Phoenix stuff. Um, it's showing how strong of a mutant she is. Um,
She was also pushed to that. Well, we first saw her sister showing her how to do it, right?
mhm,
And then throughout the film, we learn a little. Spider-Man learns the limit of her power. It's like 33 feet or something like that. I kind of like that.
mhm.
But then, yeah, it's this torture chamber that they have her in, that brings her to evolve to her next skill set level. And yeah, the fact that even the villain didn't know what VMAX was, and I believed him every single time. He's like, I don't know what that is. You never saw we need to lock down the VMAX files type moment, And so I was like, well, what the hell is it? And for her to realize that this is exactly the spot where her sister died, I was like, oh my gosh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's really good, you know. Um, that was great. And then for her to like not immediately let Spider-Man in, she turned the hand on him and everything, and that whole fight sequence with how together they were, um, that was really cool. Yeah, it was a great finale moment.
And I love at the end that Peter has to embrace the evolution of his powers
Mhm,
to be able to get to her. Like, he has to find the
mhm.
balance. Did you think they were going man spider route, or do you think they were just leveling him up?
I mean, with the spider with the black eyes in the trailer, and the webbing, yeah, I didn't think we were gonna see, 8 armed or whatever, multiple armed spider, but I thought it was gonna be some version of that, plus, uh, just a version of that mixed with other versions of this that we've seen in the Toby movies, but
Yeah.
it wasn't, thankfully. I'm glad it wasn't. I mean, do you think it was too easy for him to just accept it, or do you think it was balanced enough for
I
the
I
film?
I feel like it was balanced enough by the time we got to the end where he was able to just balance it,
Mhm,
because it is a bit of a psychological issue. Like, I think he spends a lot of the film trying to suppress that part of himself and play God,
mhm, mhm,
something that Bruce Banner has been struggling with for a long time, but he was able to find balance with it. So I think having Peter Parker be able to find the balance for it and embrace the organic webbing and the heightened senses, it works for me. I think the evolution of how we got there by the end worked very well. The scene where he just goes off on Scorpion reminded me so much of the "You can't get away from me, shocker!" Like, where he just loses it on Scorpion and almost kills a cop, and to the point
mhm,
where, um, uh, the wolf has to come in and talk him down, like, "This isn't you, man. Like, here, eat a
mhm,
Snickers." Like,
mhm.
um,
I
uh
like that scene. I'm glad that was the only scene, because anything
yeah,
more than that would have been Venom, it would have been symbiote, and I
it
really didn't want them to do that too much.
yeah, and they did it just the right amount, and I think they did it better than Sam Raimi did in Spider-Man 3 because, uh, like, Tobey Maguire in Spider-Man 3 just seems angsty and,
Mm,
like, it doesn't really work, but here, Tom Holland was pissed. Like, he you could you I thought he was going to kill Scorpion. Like, he
mhm,
just went
mhm,
all out, like, he hulked out on Scorpion, and it
mhm.
worked so well, and it worked a lot
But he
better
didn't
than
go evil. He
he
just got
didn't.
focused and he forgot his priorities. And that's what I
Yeah,
liked. It was never oh, this is evil Peter, like the
yeah,
symbiote would be. It was
yeah.
just, this is focused rage. And he didn't care about other people and his
He
priorities and like protecting cops.
he didn't take a minute to go buy a black suit and start dancing in the street. Um,
Right.
so I think it worked very well, and it gave you a reason. It gave him the reason to build that inhibitor. Like, he's like, I can't control this. I need to get this under control because someone's going to get hurt. Because he's not doing it
Mhm.
for himself. He's doing it for somebody else. He's making sure that no one's going to get hurt by this power that I'm having trouble with.
Yeah.
Um, which I think is the most Spider-Man thing he can do.
Agreed. I thought that was great. You touched on this a little bit, the bringing back Aunt May, when she said, "I can get in your head," and he's like, "Do it, let's go." And then that's the scene, and we got a tease of that scene, and then we brought back to that scene, when they first said that this was going to be an Aunt May thing and not an Uncle Ben thing, I'm like, oh, okay, that's a risk, but this solidified this version of that, and it was great, and it was a great conversation that didn't feel like, oh, you're retconning things. It felt like something she would have said to him years
Mhm.
ago, and that he chose as a moment to resonate with Jean, and I love that
Yeah.
it switched to her I just that was just a really well made scene. I really liked that scene.
The biggest problem I had with that scene, and this is just me nitpicking, is we've reached the point now where we have to de-age Tom Holland. Like,
I know.
Homecoming was so long ago, we have to de-age
Yeah.
Tom Holland just a hair. Like,
Yeah.
it was like, "Oh, man," like, but
Yeah. But
I think what really makes this film stand out for me is this is the first time we've seen Spider-Man go from, like, high school to being an adult. Like,
Mhm.
we kinda just jumped into adult Spider-Man in the Tobey movies, and then we they tried to like, with Amazing Spider-Man, the whole thing was, "Oh, he's back in high school again," for 1 movie, and then we're gonna drive him back into to adult
Mhm.
Peter Parker. I think having the 3 films where he's a kid and learning, and then getting to this adult stage of Spider, like, worked so well for me, and the red herring of having Keith David doing the voiceover in the trailer about the spider stage of life was so great.
Mhm.
Because as soon as I heard it in the movie, it's like, that's his part in the movie is just like a nature documentary narrator. That's fantastic. Like, well done marketing and casting. Like,
That was great. And then even Peter was like, "Ah, turn that off. Like, I don't wanna
yeah.
watch that."
Yeah.
Yeah. That was great. He was grossed out by his own webs. Like, I
Yeah.
love that. Yeah. Uh, I thought that the Peter Parker storyline in this was great. It really did feel like it was a reset for the character. It was the first time that we saw him as an adult and not just as an adult who's just he's got his own place now and but that he's truly alone. And I mean, the fact that this was 4 years later and he's done so well to throw himself into work and he's built this relationship with the cops and he's sustained himself and he's not gone to Ned or to Mary Jane since that coffee shop scene at the end of the last movie, but he's kind of followed them online and it's he's punishing himself, but he feels like this is the best. This is the best for everybody. I felt that loneliness,
Yeah.
I felt it. I loved the shots of him in the apartment. The only thing they didn't do was say how he can afford that apartment. You know, I don't know if he had some type of bank from Tony Stark that he's living off of now, but we
I
got no sense of a job, right?
my head canon is, say you have somebody like Scorpion out on the loose, and there's a reward for his capture. My guess is that's what he's living off of.
Yeah, well, he does have that contact at the
Yeah,
you think he's on the you think he's on the
yeah.
payroll or he's getting the rewards?
I think that's probably it. Otherwise, he's Spider-Man. Like, he can probably get away with stealing some stuff and, like, just
Oh
I
yeah, he's
don't know.
skimming off the top.
Yeah. Like,
I mean,
he stole a crate of Stark Tech from Happy's place.
yeah.
Um,
I didn't need a scene of him at some dead end job. I just figured he's finding a way to make it
it
work.
it would have been nice, and I'm sure they're gonna save this. It would have been nice to have a little bit of the Daily Bugle in here. Just
Mhm.
him doing for some photography stuff. We haven't really seen that yet. Um,
Yeah,
but
we had no J.K. Simmons in this film,
no.
which was a pleasant surprise in the last, yeah.
Yeah,
I I I just I loved his loneliness. I loved his interactions with Ned and Mary Jane, and I'm so glad that that's not done. Like I love the conversation he has with Mary Jane when she reads that letter and she's like, "I'm sorry. I get why you love this girl, this person. That's not me. I don't love you." At the same time, she's not like, F you, I don't know you. Like she still cares about him and you can
yeah,
maybe see something building by the end of the film, but she does like she's honest with him. I don't know you to love you.
yeah. I
I thought that
think
was a great scene.
I I thought that was a great scene, and then, like, what really drove it home for me was "I don't have my phone. Can you give me a ride home?" And then just, like, the
Mhm,
swinging awkwardly back home. Like, and you can tell how awkward that is for both of them. And then
mhm,
there's that moment at the end of that where she's like, "Do you wanna come see Ned?" Like, that's what really sealed the she still cares for this guy because he's
Cares,
done
yeah.
yeah, she cares. Like, she may not know who he is from the past, but she knows that he cares for them both
Mhm.
and what it would mean for them both. And, like, w I think the moment that hit me the hardest was when she showed him the picture that she drew of them playing with Legos. Because that was
Yeah.
just, like I just Ned in this is just fantastic. Like, I just love all of his scenes and his interactions with Peter or whatever he said his name was.
Yeah, it was some weird name, some weird
Maynard,
name.
Maynard.
Yeah, Maynard or something. Yeah. So uh do you think I've seen two versions of this. One crowd believes he remembers Peter because of the handshake. Another crowd says, well, no, he heard his name was Peter when Mary Jane called him Peter earlier in the film in costume, and he's just connecting the dots that he's Spider-Man and not necessarily remembering him as Peter. What camp are you in?
Um, I'm in the camp that him and MJ are starting to remember. Um, for 2 reasons. One, we know that Ned has a tendency towards magic because of the sling ring in No Way Home.
Yeah.
So there it is
Yeah.
possible that he's able to fight off the spell a little bit, but there's been a lot of discourse about the ending of this film being explained 10 years ago in X-Men Apocalypse. Uh,
Okay.
because there's that whole moment where Jean Grey has, everyone in, like, a mile radius frozen. And the moment from X-Men Apocalypse that everyone was talking about is the Weapon X scene where Jean is able to calm down Wolverine to the point where he runs out. And she says, I couldn't give him much, but I was able to find a snippet of his past for him to hold on to. So
Mm,
I think in that moment where MJ and Ned are frozen, you see MJ with the tears. And I think the moment that she's able to
mhm,
find in there is a moment with MJ and Peter. And
mm.
I think that awakens something because MJ knows enough at this point that it might even just awaken those feelings that she felt for him, even if she doesn't have the memories. Like maybe those feelings are there and she's starting to put things together. Because when we see her on the roof of Midtown Science Academy holding the smashed necklace from Far From Home, like
Mhm.
there's something there. Like she's starting to put something together. It may not be the memories, but I feel like the essence of the feelings that she had for him are starting to return.
Well, she told him that she recognized the gaps and that it
Mhm.
makes sense because she was like, this Spider-Man was in DC and Spider-Man
Mhm.
was in Europe. And I can't remember the line, but it seemed like she was referencing some type of gap in her memory, and it makes
Yeah.
sense that this would be what fills it. I
Yeah.
wish there was a line at the end from Jean Grey saying, "Hey, I gave you a gift," that would hint to that. There's not, so I'm always like, if it doesn't say it, then it didn't happen. But I like where your head's at, especially with the tear during the Frozen thing, and
Yeah.
I would hope that's the case. We'll see. But I just love their interactions. I love that it wasn't a happy wrapped bow at the end and everyone got their memories back and we're friends again. I
I
liked where it went with the
I
characters.
I for one would have been great if they showed Happy Hogan in a bow at the end of this. Like this is the first
Oh,
Spider-Man
Happy
movie with
Hogan.
Tom Holland we haven't had Happy Hogan.
I
So,
know. I was expecting him to show up at one of the cemetery scenes, but he didn't.
yeah. Um, yeah, so
I
I
really love this film, man. I think it was great. I know there are things we could nitpick, um, but I don't feel the need to. I think
no.
overall the film was really strong, really
I
strong.
I think the last thing we need to talk about is that post-credit scene, and what does it mean for what is your interpretation of the post-credit scene? The post-credit scene is Ned's spider tracker,
Mhm,
Spider-Man disappearing, and then a Spider-Man logo reappearing in space.
mhm. I think that was something they put together at the very last minute, like 2 weeks ago, to throw on to the end. I thought it was a reference to Secret Wars,
Okay.
with Spider-Man in space. Um,
I
I can't think of anything else, but what are your thoughts?
I think it's Secret Wars. He's in space. It could be Doomsday. Um,
Oh, it
because
could
the
be
one
that too, for sure.
yeah, it could be Doomsday. It could be a different Spider-Man coming in. It could be somebody coming in on a ship from a different universe. Could be Toby. Could be Andrew. Probably not.
Well, it's been a minute since I've read, and there's different versions of Secret Wars, but there is a version where he gets the symbiote
Hmm.
through Secret Wars storyline.
Yeah.
So that is what I'm, because I don't know how much longer we're gonna get Tom Holland as Spider-Man. I hope it's another couple movies because this does feel like a reset. This feels like film one of possible new trilogy.
Yeah.
He's young. This is something now that he's not just starring in, but he's building, and so I hope that means he's sticking around. And I cannot imagine us not getting a symbiote
Yeah.
version of his Peter. So I hope that's what we're heading towards
I
in
I I feel
Secret
it.
War.
I feel like we're gonna have to get a symbiote at some point. Tom Holland has said that he doesn't know how they can do the symbiote in any better than they did in the games because of the way it looked, and they don't know how they can do that in live action. But we'll see.
Well, they mirrored a lot
Um,
of the games in this live action movie, so
yeah, and I will say, um, the one thing we didn't talk about, and this isn't a a slight on the film at all. I don't know how much Tom Holland's actually in this movie, because he has the mask on for so long. And I know
mhm.
the shooting schedule was tight with this and The Odyssey. So, I think that
Yeah,
that's
but you
part.
have half the cast of The Odyssey was in this film, you
Yeah.
know?
Um, so,
And
like
half of the cast of Dune was in this film as well, so,
yeah. So,
they're just all sharing the
it's all
same
yeah,
sets.
it's all the same, like, it's a good year to be Tom Holland, Zendaya, John Barenthal, and Anne Hathaway. Uh,
And,
and
Yelena, what's her name?
oh, yeah, I forgot she's in Dune as
She's
well,
in
yeah.
Dune. Yeah,
Yeah,
mhm,
Doomsday for her is just insane because 'cause she's got both of those movies,
right,
and she's playing two versions of herself in Doomsday from the trailer. So,
right,
um,
right.
but yeah, I don't know how much Tom Holland was actually in this. I remember there being rumors of them having to film a lot of this with a double or doing Doomsday with a double, which if they're doing a double for Doomsday, it would make sense why they're not saying, "Oh yeah, Tom Holland's in this as well," because it's not really Tom Holland. He's doing the voice. Like, if he keeps the
Yeah, there
mask
were
on.
significant portions of him when he finally would take the mask off and be like, "Oh, it's been a minute since I've seen his face." But if they did use a double, he had his mannerisms down because it
Mhm.
always felt like his
Oh,
version of Spider-Man, you know?
I'm pretty sure if they got a double, it was his brother. Like, like
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they did the Paul Walker thing, except no one's dead. Uh, so, um, yeah,
I loved he had a by the way, he had a little Bureau, reference in there. Did you see his,
I missed
non-alcoholic
that.
beer?
I missed
He
that.
was in, when he went to the little bodega earlier in the film, to get flowers before he sees Ned for the first time. Bureau is featured
Oh, is it?
prominently on half the screen, and I was like, "Oh," I mean, they didn't do the whole thing of, "Well, let me get a sip of that," you know, but
Yeah.
they had it in there, and I
The
appreciated that,
the
but
least realistic thing about this whole movie isn't the fact that we have a superhero with spider DNA that is mutating and making him more spider. It's the fact that any New Yorker is eating Little Caesars pizza. Like,
Yeah,
love me Little
yeah,
Caesars, but if I'm in New York, no. Uh,
and me and you went to the proper,
yes,
pizza
Joe's.
spot in New
Oh
York,
man. I uh I miss me some Joe's Pizza. I might take a road trip out. Like when my son's old enough, we might just drive to New York for Joe's Pizza. So,
yeah. This movie felt so well made. It did feel like Amy Pascal and Kevin Feige were working together because I mean, as we've seen with Morpheus and some of these other Spider-Man spin-offs, you know, they seem to just be doing whatever the hell they want to do and throwing things in, and you're like, I don't know how that's going to jive with the actual MCU, but everything that was in here that was borrowed, excuse me, from the MCU worked, in my opinion. It
Yeah.
didn't feel like, oh, they're taking liberties that the next MCU film is going to have to, course correct or something. I felt like it was all good. And the one thing, the other thing I forgot to mention was the Hulk stuff was fun. I'm glad they made a reference to bigger Hulk. Like he got
Yeah.
big,
Yeah.
and I all the things they did was like, oh, this is good. It fits in the film. It fits in the MCU. It doesn't feel like it's going to clash, and I think that's because they work together,
Yeah.
versus opposite from each other.
Absolutely. And I I'm glad they didn't go Gray Hulk. I'm glad they went Big Hulk instead. Like,
Me too. Me too.
yeah.
Mhm.
Um, that's all I've got.
Yeah,
Um,
I
yeah.
can't wait to see it again.
I can't either. It's gonna be hopefully soon. Hopefully I can go see it again in the next week or two. But we hope you enjoyed our review of Spider-Man Brand New Day. Um, look forward to more episodes of Brilliant but Lazy coming soon. We have a lot more to talk about. We have more Spider-Man stuff to talk about. Like, hey, I don't know. Have you been watching Spider Noir on Amazon?
I've been so busy. I have not. I feel horrible, but I want to. I've heard good things.
It's I've been taking my time with it. I haven't binged it, but Nick Cage is having a blast, and I
Good,
love
as
Nick
he
Cage having a
deserves.
blast. And like watching it on my projector in black and white, it just makes me feel like superior. Um, but yeah, we have a lot of things to talk about. We'll be talking about Avengers Endgame Encore. What else is coming up that we're going to talk about?
Oh, I mean, there is some DC stuff. We got that Green Lanterns movie or
The
show on the
show, yeah.
horizon.
We have
Clayface on the horizon.
Clayface.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
we've got a lot of things coming up. So stay tuned. We'll be talking about. We won't be doing our usual New York Comic Con episode this year, but I'm sure we can talk about things about it that we weren't there for, kind of like we
For
did
sure.
today with San Diego. But
Hmm.
um, yeah, we're gonna get back into this a little bit more regularly, at least once or twice a month.
As
So
life allows.
as
You
life
got a busy
allows,
life. I got a busy life. I,
yes,
I appreciate any time I get to talk to you, and it's always fun
absolutely,
catching up.
and it's always great talking about victim and villain stuff. I feel like we did talk a bit about like the mental health journey of Peter Parker in this because that's always a big part of the Spider-Man stuff is the mental health and the loneliness and like it works so well in this movie.
It does. It
But
does.
yeah,
For
make sure
sure.
to check out victimsandvillains.net for more information on everything that Victims is doing. In the meantime, uh, for Brilliant but Lazy, I'm Alan.
And I'm Josh.
In the words of Dr. Frederick Crane, wishing you good mental health. Nope. Good mental health. There we go.